Sometimes when we are hurting, when we're in the midst of pain, we feel the need to hide our pain, to hide our hurt, to act like we've got it all together. No problem here, right? There's this idea that if we express that we need help, that we even have a need, that we're showing weakness, that we're showing vulnerability. You think, people need me to be strong, or I need to project strength. They're all looking to me. They come to me when there's a need. I don't need to ask them. But on Yeshua's darkest day, in the most painful of his moments, he had a need and he expressed it. John 19:28, he says, I am thirsty. Now earlier they had offered him wine mixed with myrrh, which would have served as a painkiller of sorts, right? We read about that in Mark 15. But in that case, Yeshua refused it, not because of some macho man pride, but because as God in the flesh, he was not seeking to reduce in any way the full sensory experience of taking upon himself the full weight and pain of sin. But now the end is near, right? It was just after Yeshua had made sure his mother would be cared for by John. He knew that all things had been completed. Everything he had come to do on this side of his death had been completed. And he would soon declare the powerful message that needed to be declared. What he's about to declare, that message of it is finished, right? He had been lifted up, just as he had said he would, in order to draw all humanity to himself. And in what would be this final sermon, right, that needed to be proclaimed, where he says in Greek, tetelestai, it is finished, it is completed. He needed, in order to do that, Yeshua needed to clear his voice, right? This proclamation needed not to be choked out or gurgled or muttered out. It needed to be trumpeted so that all could hear it. But to prepare for that moment, Yeshua needed help. If Yeshua was asking for help on his darkest, most painful day, then his example demonstrates to us the reminder that none of us need to be so in control, so strong, or so spiritual that we ought to go through our most painful days without asking for help. I'm thirsty. Look, a painful day can blur our perspective. It can clog up our voice. It can bring a fog to our mind or bring uncertainty to our hearts. And in those moments, it's okay to cry out, I am thirsty. I need help bringing clarity to the message of what's happening right now. We read in John 19, verses 28 through 30. After this, when Yeshua knew that all things were now completed, to fulfill the scripture, he said, I am thirsty. A jar full of sour wine was sitting there, so they put a sponge soaked with sour wine on a hyssop branch and brought it to his mouth. When Yeshua tasted the sour wine, he said, it is finished. And he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. Right? The drink that was offered to Yeshua, it was a bitter one, but it still helped bring clarity to what he was about to declare. Yeshua allowed the weakness of his humanity to be expressed. And sometimes in our darkness, we need to cry out, I'm thirsty. I need help to go through this next step of what needs to be done. Too many people say that a confession of faith should never involve confessing any kind of weakness or need. You can't say, don't confess, I'm hurting or I'm tired. Don't confess that, I'm discouraged. Don't confess, I'm sick. Just walk around, I'm blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. They say that all of that, but Yeshua chose to acknowledge his thirst, his need, so that the fullness of what had been accomplished could be declared. It's okay to need each other. It's okay to be transparent. It's okay to say, I'm thirsty, I'm hurting. If Yeshua was, why can't we be?